It is 2 o'clock, August the 19th, 2018. It's a Sunday, and I have finally done it. Fourth year going to the Watermelon Festival. I'm passing by this, keeping my schedule and my budget too tight to actually stop and enjoy it. This year, I stopped at, I was calling it the Huntsville Space Center, but according to the sign, it's actually called the Huntsville Space and Rocket Center. Even so, my next fair starts tomorrow out in Gray, Tennessee, so I'm going to have to finish up here as quick as I can, then get on the road and go to the next one. And this place closes at 5, so I've only got 3 hours. Even before going in, I'm admiring all the detail on these statues of these soldiers here. This little memorial statue. I mean, you can even see down to the knuckling on the outside of this holster here. It's the snaps on the field knife here, right there. That's all that's there. Even look over here in this pocket right here. You can even see the pocket clip coming from the knife there. Just all this detail down to the mesh on top of the knuckles over the gloves there. I believe this is the entrance. At least that is how it is labeled. We got an SR-71 Blackbird. I haven't even gone in yet, and I'm already in awe of this. One of the fastest recon ships ever made. The only thing that was ever made that was faster than the SR-71 was something called the Valkyrie, which I think they only made like 3 of those. This one they made something like 5 or 6. As the story goes, this would go so fast and heat up with the air friction and the motors so much that the plane had to be built with a little bit of a gap to account for the expansion of the metal whenever it would heat up. So as it was taxiing out to the runway, it was leaking fluids because they knew after it got in the air and it got up to speed, that metal would heat up, it would expand, and would close the gaps. So that was accounted for. Fascinating piece of engineering here. I think it's about time I just go on in and start the tour.
I do recommend starting over to the right, so you'll see this, you'll see 101 Inventions, watched it.
Alright, got my ticket, General Admissions and the IMAX, so going on in. Just got off. Honestly, seemed kind of lame to have everything in third-person perspective, but still pretty good. Reaching the featured exhibit about the ISS, the International Space Station. Got a little mock-up of a control center here, but further on, there is a actual walkthrough of the ISS. Oh, of course. First thing we see, space food. Got a little macaroni salad here. Everything vacuum sealed. Oh, here we go. The bathroom. So you can open the valve so the vacuum starts, and the urine goes in here, and it's color-coded yellow. The harness right here that held you down to the treadmill. The treadmill is right there on the wall, so you could utilize walls in space. It is zero gravity. You had to keep your muscles in shape because if you went the entire, like 2 weeks out in space without using your muscles, when you got hit by gravity, your muscles would be all atrophied and you wouldn't be able to walk. So you had to walk this treadmill every day. And even then, they had a hard time standing when coming back. And right here we got, looks like a sleep pod with your workstation. So, there was that. right here, she's talking about the actual sleep pods that they were in. You can see all of this equipment around her here. And right here, this mock-up that is supposed to be the same thing has none of that equipment. So this is really just for looks. Got a little isolation chamber here for doing science experiments. These are just open holes. It's still kind of the same experience. Got a joystick here. It's supposed to be kind of like... It actually has a little bit of force feedback there too. It's like you're controlling the arm. Oh, there it is, right there. I'm lifting it up now. Oh, there's a target there. That's what you're supposed to be doing. This is like a game to try to hit that target. This is the way it looks from the outside. This is what we just walked through right here. Down these corridors. It came out over there. Going into the IMAX theater now. This is the IMAX projection room. I did not realize they still used actual film at the IMAX like this. Big giant rolls of film, just like the old canisters. Oh, Dream Big, that's the one I just saw. So that's it's him spooling it back up. Beautiful Planet. Okay, so that's the reel right there for Beautiful Planet. Come to a replica of the moon landing. You've got the LEM, the actual lunar lander over here. And this is the way it would have looked. They would have left the base and blasted the module off to meet up with the shuttle orbiting the moon. So that stays there. We've got like what, 3 or 4 of these left on the moon. Okay, here we've got the Chinook helicopter. It's pretty much just a big workhorse, a cargo helicopter. They use the same model nowadays to help put out forest fires. I'm sure the military still got plenty of use for them too. According to these really well kept plaques, educational stuff here, this that we're standing in front of is NASA's Skylab. So let's do a little bit of a walk around, see what we can see on this thing. Got the Army's Missile Recovery Submarine. Didn't even know they had a submarine dedicated to such a purpose. It's a massive power generating turbine. You see right here, when the coal comes in, heats up the water, the steam turns this turbine and generates electricity. And there it is, right there. And finally, right here, by the Saturn V. I'm going into the Saturn V building. I heard that this is the building that's actually got the space artifacts. Wow, they really were in a little bitty tin can. It's amazing I found people that even fit in these things. Looks like you would almost have to be a little person. And just look at all the engineering that went into this Saturn V rocket. I mean, even just the little TIG welds right there, so precisely done, polished. Every little thing. I could just stare at this all day long. This one was called the J2, first space engine. Right through the middle of the building, you've got the Saturn V here, and there's this separation right here where you can tell the second stage rockets would start off, and then this would drop back, and then even further down, it separates the second time. There's the next stage right there, and the astronauts actually stayed in this area here. This building here was where I should have just come to first, instead of walking through any of the other areas. This is the command module from Apollo 16, one that flew to the moon and back in 1972. It looks like you can even still see scorching on the outside from re-entry. There's one of the space rocks that was collected. More vacuum-packed space food. Oh, there's your scrambled eggs right there. Doesn't that look appetizing? Final descent. Taking the lunar module down to the surface of the moon. That was the big rocket engine in the middle right there. Less gravity, less thrust. So this is the one that took them back up to the shuttle after they were done on the moon. So it didn't need to be as big as the one guiding them down to the surface. Here's the lunar lander again. And here we've got the lunar rover. Wheels were all wire mesh. There was no rubber there. It didn't need to be. Really added a lot of range to how much of the moon surface they could cover in the later missions. You know, when they were flying the lunar rover up there, it was all folded up for easier transport. And then it folded all back out. Even got a little wooden model here so you can kind of get an idea of the folding that they did. So there you go. There it is in its crate form. On the model that goes right down the middle of the building, you can see the very end, right by the cone. This is the control module. Again, that's the way it looks now. There's the parachute that lowered it down for the splashdown. Right here you've got the pre-flight procedure that they did in the Saturn V. All the way from breakfast to the suit up, transport out, and then loading in to the rocket there. And then around this side is a corridor you can walk through to kind of replicate what they did in their spacesuits, walking down this corridor to go get into the rocket, blast off out of Earth's atmosphere into orbit. Here's something kind of cool and interactive. They've got an area up here that you can actually climb inside and lay down so that you can get the feel of what it was like to get into the command module. So let's do that. Going in.
Restarting this one now. Raj, how's about 9? 2 to Raj.
Okay, and I am inside. I'm gonna turn the view around. Some actual controls here. Some of them have been played with enough they've fallen out, but still clicky.
We do have an altitude.
Kind of give you an idea of what they were doing. Oh, look, some neat looking toggles here.
When he starts his yacht here. How's your misfit looking now, Fido? Flight Fido, we do have the altitude. Okay,
look at this, the actual docking mechanism. The actual docking mechanism clamp that the module would come off the surface of the moon and then dock back up with the shuttle in orbit. Right there. Wow, so complicated looking. When the orbit decayed on the Skylab and it finally re-entered Earth atmosphere and broke apart, much of it was never recovered. But this is the biggest chunk that they ever found, and it was fell in Australia, right here in Australia. There was nothing hurt for where it fell because this is a very desolate place. But here it is. Here it is now, and you can even see inside of it. I don't know what part of the Skylab it was, but now we've got the International Space Station instead. It's the upper stage engine right here. A lot of work in that. Another artifact here to really amaze you with how much they were able to do with such small computing powers from back in the 60s and 70s. This right here was a 114,688 bit memory module. And right there is where somebody is manually weaving and actually manually building this memory module. It's all part of their computer system they used as the brain of the Saturn. Saturn's brain is housed in all of this. When flying over Earth, an airline pilot can look at the horizon to determine the plane's orientation. In space, however, there is no horizon. To determine the orientation, the Saturn V carried an internal platform that acted as an artificial horizon. This table was aligned before liftoff and remained fixed in flight. And there it is now. Their artificial horizon. Part of the brain of Saturn V. Well guys, it is about 5 minutes until 5, and 5 is the official close down time. So instead of having an employee usher me out and remind me of what time it is, I'm going to go ahead and leave now. So let me go ahead and close this one out. Alright guys, something that was a little bit of a shock to me, I'm going to have to warn you on, is that most of this is kid-centric. It was so much more than I expected. If you are not an elementary to middle school age child, or you don't have some children to bring with you, you are going to feel very uncomfortable with the first half of this. It just had like a bunch of like games and a lot of stuff that really didn't even have to do with space. It was just very pandering to kids. And then even out in the courtyard, there was rides, like carnival rides. This is the Huntsville Space Center. It was just so very kitty. And just like part of this exhibit's in here, I felt like a lurker at an elementary school. It was very weird. And I was ready to just say that this was one of the biggest disappointments I've seen at a tourist destination. But then I found the Saturn V building. So if you don't have kids and you're not a kid, you come here, don't even bother getting the IMAX movie because that was lame. Very pandering, very lame. It's worth it for the full general admission to come in here, skip all this, maybe read some plaques out in the courtyard, and then go into the Saturn V building and spend all your time in there because that was amazing. That's going to be it, guys. Please don't forget to smash that like button, leave comments, leave questions, leave suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and ring that bell icon to start receiving notifications. Share this vlog around. I love you all very much, and I will see you again in the next video.